Las Vegas in the 1970s looked like a playground of lights, money, and endless opportunity. But behind the neon glow, there was another world, one built on fear, control, and organized crime. At the center of that world stood a small but dangerous man, Tony Spilotro. This is not a story of glamour. This is a cautionary tale about power, greed, and the cost of living outside the law. Tony Spilotro was born in 1938 in Chicago. He grew up around organized crime influences, and by his early 20s, he was already involved with the Chicago Outfit, one of the most powerful criminal organizations in America. He was known for being intelligent, aggressive, and extremely loyal to his superiors. But he was also known for something else: brutality. Unlike the romanticized versions of mob life you see in movies, the reality was far darker and far less glamorous. In the early 1970s, the Chicago Outfit sent Spilotro to Las Vegas. His mission was simple: protect the outfit's interests and oversee the Skim. The Skim was a secret system where casino profits were taken before being officially recorded, meaning millions of dollars were sent back to Chicago, untaxed and untraceable. Las Vegas at the time was still heavily influenced by organized crime. But there was a rule in that world: make money quietly, do not attract attention. And that's where things began to go wrong. Tony Spilotro didn't stay quiet. He formed what became known as the Hole-in-the-Wall Gang, a burglary crew that broke into high-end stores and homes by drilling through walls and ceilings. The crimes brought heat, federal investigations increased, surveillance intensified. Law enforcement agencies had been working for years to dismantle organized crime operations, and Spilotro was becoming a liability. Hollywood later portrayed elements of this era in films like Casino, where a character inspired by Spilotro appears. But movies often dramatize events. The real story involved constant investigations, paranoia, and internal tension within the criminal organization. In organized crime, loyalty is everything, until you become a problem. By the mid-1980s, pressure from federal authorities was increasing. Indictments were coming, trials were building. Within the outfit, leadership began to see Spilotro as reckless. In June 1986, Tony Spilotro and his brother were lured to a meeting in Illinois. They never came back. Their deaths marked the end of an era and highlighted a harsh reality. In organized crime, protection is temporary, power is conditional, and consequences are inevitable. Tony Spilotro's story is not about success. It's about how ambition without restraint leads to destruction. Las Vegas eventually transformed. Corporate ownership replaced mob control. Federal enforcement grew stronger. The system changed, and people like Spilotro became part of history. The neon lights of Las Vegas still shine, but the era of mob-controlled casinos is over. Tony Spilotro's life serves as a reminder. Crime may promise power and money, but it rarely delivers peace, and it never escapes consequences forever. If you enjoy deep dives into real crime history, told responsibly and without glorifying violence, consider subscribing, because some stories deserve to be told, not to celebrate them, but to understand them.